You're listening to Nice-ish, a podcast about reality TV and your opinions with your hosts, Cindy and Grace. Hi guys, welcome to episode 6 of Nice-ish. Grace, hi.
Hi.
We decided to take a short break from our regularly scheduled programming and do a special episode. So we're not covering our Married to Medicine rewatch. We are going to do a special 2-part episode about the worst house husbands franchise.
Yeah.
So basically, we've kind of always heard that Real Housewives of Orange County had the worst men. Mm-hmm. It's kind of been like just known. If you say, who do you think has the worst men? Everybody always answers Orange County. And we wanted to do a scientific study.
Yes.
To determine which franchise had the worst husbands / partner / whatever.
Right.
So in part 1, we cover Real Housewives of Orange County, of Atlanta, of Salt Lake City, and Beverly Hills. And we go through every cast member and their husband or partner, and we talk about what we think of them. And at the end, what we did was we thought maybe it was getting on the mean side, on the not so nice-ish side. Yeah. So we basically have 3 categories. We have worst, best, and favorite. Because you might pick somebody that's the best husband, but they're not necessarily your favorite husband. So we have 3 categories. So what we're going to do is, after you listen to the podcast, I will tweet out about it, and you're going to vote on those 3 categories. You're going to vote for your best, worst, and favorite for OC, for Atlanta, for Salt Lake City, and Beverly Hills from this episode. And you're only going to vote once. Follow directions, people.
Pay attention, please.
1 vote per category. If you vote more than once, off to the basement you go. So 1 vote. And it should be fun. If you're a fun sucker, don't apply. Mm-hmm. We don't need you.
No.
We don't need you to criticize people. It's supposed to be fun. People like different people. It's okay. Just to have fun with it.
Yes.
And no tagging people. It's not supposed to be mean-spirited.
Right.
We don't want to tag somebody and say, we all think your husband sucks.
You're right.
You know, try to be nice.
Yeah.
Ish. Just, you know.
Talk about people behind their back like you're supposed to. Be classy about it. Don't let people know.
Exactly. Yes. What our ultimate goal is not only to decide what the worst franchise is for men, but we also want to crown a winner. So we're going to have everybody vote, and once we have a winner of who you guys picked for OC, for Atlanta, and so on, we're going to take the 1 winners of each franchise, and then there will be 1 final vote with the 8 men in each of those categories. And then we'll crown a winner for who's the ultimate worst husband, who's the ultimate best husband, and who everybody's favorite husband is. And then we'll have the worst franchise as well. So,
yes.
And Grace, you have a certain way you're doing it, right?
Yes, I have my own very scientific way that I'm going about grading all of these men, because as we know, some men are worse than others, and that should count for more. So, like, if you cheated on your partner, that counts as double. And if you are either not paying child support, investigated by the FBI, you committed a crime, that all counts for more than somebody who's
So
not
you have
done
a
those.
point system for how bad people are.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there are others that, apply specifically to franchises. Like, wears bedazzled jean jackets that he makes himself.
Oof, that's got to be worth a lot of points.
It
is.
It's
Horrible.
It's a 5.
What else?
So that's for OC.
Right.
For Roni, I have, calling a cast member who got divorced countless.
Ugh,
That's also pretty high.
not cool.
Nope. Potomac, we have having sex with your parishioners. That's pretty high.
Ooh, I would think that would be way up there.
Yep.
Okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So we'll have everybody vote. We'll tally the votes, and then we'll have part 2 come out the following week, which includes Roni, Real Housewives of Potomac, New Jersey, and Miami. And I'll tweet out the same thing, graphics for them. They include every husband that's been on the show. And you guys are going to list your worst, your best, and your favorite. Ultimately, this is decide which franchise has the worst men.
There's a lot riding on this. This matters.
I mean, I think Yale might call and want you to submit this to their, studies.
Before we get started, do you think that OC will have the worst men? Do you think that hypothesis is correct?
Well, we've already recorded OC, and I will say that there are a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. But in looking at some of the other franchises, I was actually shocked at how poorly they all did.
Yeah.
There are a lot of horrible men, and
Yes.
the amount of really great men were slim. It was slim.
Uh-huh. Slim pickings.
Slim pickings. So, ladies, if you have one of those men, hold on to them because there aren't a lot of them out there.
Yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah. They're unicorns. So, this was actually really fun. I had a good time recording these. I had a good time looking back. Unfortunately, there were some men we had no idea who they were.
Yeah. They just didn't make an impression, really.
Or we hadn't watched the franchise in so long, those early seasons. Like, Miami was tough for us because we know a lot of the current people, but the seasons 1 and 2 were really hard.
Yeah, because I don't remember when I watched them, it was on air. And I was a lot younger then, too, so I don't really
So we
remember.
contributed very little to that part.
Yeah.
But anyway, we hope you guys have fun listening and voting and having as good of a time as we did because we had a lot of laughs. So let's start with the OG of the OC, Vicki Gunvalson. She's got quite a few names on her list. Don Gunvalson.
I miss Don. Gone too soon. He didn't die, though. I don't mean that as if he died.
Yeah, no rest in peace. But yeah, I liked Don a lot. They had their issues. They didn't seem happy, but
I liked him.
he seemed like a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. He tried to make it work.
Right, I know. I liked him, too.
Then her and Don divorced, and she started dating Brooks.
Were they divorced yet? I'm not sure if they were divorced.
Shade.
I was just wondering. That's what Brianna said. I'm going based off of what Brianna said.
I don't know. Probably. But Brooks, she met at one of her insurance conferences, and I'm
just a fraud looking for an insurance owner to scam.
He was a piece of work. I mean, the whole season 10 was about Brooks. My favorite season of OC, one of my favorite seasons of every franchise. Season 10 was crazy. Brooks allegedly faking cancer, creating fake and phony receipts from hospitals, from Newport Imaging, which Meghan King figured out.
I remember Shannon reading one of them too and being like, why does this go all into this is all together in one word? It was, check your work, man. If you're gonna lie.
Yeah, you gotta proofread.
Yeah.
But it was crazy this guy was not a character. This was a real person.
I know.
Who did all this shit.
I think that's why that season was so good too, because producers didn't have to produce anything. They just literally had to record.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I loved that season. He wasn't great, but the season was great.
Right.
Then, after she was forced to give up Brooks, because I stand by the statement that she would still be with him today if she could be.
Yeah.
She started dating Steve Lodge. Another winner.
I know. He ended up really being a nasty guy, though.
Yeah, we found out on Ultimate Girls Trip that he dumped her 2 days before she left. Or was it the day of? I thought it was like 2 days before.
Yeah.
And he was living in her house in Mexico and, like, dating some chick there. Who I think he married.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he got married.
At the house?
Yeah, so she's, aside from Don, her picker's off there.
Yes.
Let's move on to Joe, who dated Slade. This is the first but not only time we're going to see Slade on this list.
Right, the first incarnation of Slade.
Thoughts on Slade?
My thoughts are not good.
Yeah.
He kind of had, like, in the first season, I remember him coming on and people thinking that he was hot and stuff like that. He's kind of like the Jax effect.
Yeah.
Where, he was hot in the beginning, too, and then you start to actually get to know the person, and you're like, wow, you're a real piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he had all kinds of problems later with not paying child support, which I know Vicki and Tamra kind of threw at him a lot. It was actually true. I mean, he owed tens of thousands of dollars in child support, which his ex-wife was struggling with a child that had many medical problems.
Yeah.
So to be back on child support is just despicable.
Right.
Kimberly and Scott. Do you remember anything about Kimberly season 1?
No. She was just kind of there, I think. I literally don't remember her. Like, if you were asking me about the season 1 cast, I don't think I would even name her or remember her.
Yeah, and her husband is even less memorable. So I don't know much about him. There was a story that he pushed one of the women, I think. I don't know.
I
don't know if it
something like
happened.
that. Yeah.
I know that they got the hell out of Dodge quick. Like, they left after season 1.
Yeah.
She was worried about skin cancer, I think, or something. They moved back to wherever they came from. So it was a win-win for everyone.
Okay.
Gina Keogh. She was married to Matt. Matt had a lot of issues. I think they stemmed from him getting hit in the head with a baseball. He was a professional baseball player. And I don't know that he ever really recovered from that. And the way he treated her was awful.
Yeah. I remember it was not a fun thing to watch. And then I'm not sure if it did stem from getting hit. I would think that maybe everything was heightened. I don't know if he was like that before, but...
Yeah, he wasn't a really nice guy, though. We have Lori, who married George, on the show.
Mm-hmm.
George seemed like a decent guy. Not the best, not the worst.
Right. I don't remember much about him. I know that he's got a lot of money. So
yeah, I remember him giving her a new car as a gift. And everybody just kind of like, whoa. Tammy Knickerbocker. She was married to Lou, who started that OC Angels thing that was...
Oh, God, that was such a train wreck.
Yeah, train wreck's a good
These,
good way
like,
to describe
young,
it.
bitchy girls who one stole one's boyfriend and then got into a fight in the hallway.
Yeah, I remember that scene. That was funny. And then Lou passed away, but I think they divorced before that. And she started dating this guy named Duff, which I don't know anything about. Do you?
No, I don't either. I think they had a kid, a son or something like that together, and that's about it.
But I wouldn't call him good or bad. I don't
Right.
really know. Then we have Quinn Fry, who didn't have a serious boyfriend ever, I don't think. She had a bit of a rotation and tended to like younger guys. All I remember about Quinn is that she liked to wear wigs.
Right, I know. That's the only thing I remember. I actually don't even really remember what she looks like, but I remember her wearing, a bunch of wigs and stuff.
Yeah. So there isn't anyone for us to judge.
Okay.
Speaking of judge, Tamra.
Huh.
Tamra started on the show married to Simon.
Yikes. That was insane. I just can't imagine Tamra in that type of relationship. It's so weird. To see her
a bit
now.
submissive.
Yeah. To see where she is now versus back then just was
I think
weird.
With her kids in the house at the time, she probably wanted to just kind of keep the peace. But Simon was very hard to like while we watched.
Yeah.
seemed very hard to get along with. It was his way or the highway. So he was not a likable guy for me.
No, he was not.
They divorced, and she marries Eddie.
I love Eddie.
Yeah, I'm a huge Eddie fan. I think Eddie has been attacked by other cast members on the show, and I have found him to never bite back, kind of stay a gentleman, and just go with the flow.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's up there for me.
Yeah.
Then we have Lynn Curtin, who was married to Frank. We saw the collapse of their marriage on the show. I don't know why we're laughing. Maybe because it was so ridiculous.
It's like a nervous laugh. Like, oh my God.
They were served an eviction notice on camera.
Yikes.
That was...
Actually, it wasn't even the two of them. It was their daughter. They weren't even there.
No, they weren't there. Lynn seemed to have no clue that they had no money. And Frank is shuffling around accounts trying to cover all the bills for Lynn and their two daughters, who were a mess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that marriage didn't survive.
Yeah, they wanted to get matching plastic surgery and stuff like that. They went in together at the same time. One got the one thing done, one got that.
Well, and he needed to man up a bit.
Yeah, just say that you can't.
We can't afford it right now, or whatever. He needed to man up because it genuinely seemed like Lynn didn't know.
Which is, I think, the funniest part, though. Her cuffs weren't bringing in the dough.
No. Shout out to Lynn and her cuffs. Cuff love. Then we have Gretchen, who, when we first saw her on the show, was with Jeff. Jeff, sadly, was very sick with cancer. So we only saw a couple scenes with him, and eventually he was in the hospital for some of it. But Jeff seemed like a good guy. He was a lot older than her. And when Jeff passed away, she started dating Slade, who Andy questioned the timeline a bit because Slade had said at the reunion they started dating 7 months after, or Gretchen, one of them said it was about 7 months after Jeff had passed away. Yeah. And Andy's like, nah.
Right.
More like 2 we started filming, and you were already in our house. So, God, that reunion was so funny. We should watch that again. Then we have Alexis Bellino, who, after all these years, is actually coming back to this season of Orange County. She was married to Jim the Chin at first.
He was such an ass.
Yeah, he wasn't a nice guy. My thoughts on Jim aren't great.
No.
The one scene I remember is when they were going on vacation and he forgot the luggage to the nanny. So she had nothing. And then his son wanted to ride in the car with him.
I know,
instead
he was
of
so
with all
young.
the women. And he's like, no, I need my alone time or whatever. And I'm like, you're such a douchebag. Like, come on.
Your little boy wants to ride with you.
You're going on vacation.
I know. You're all going to be together, right? Or clearly he didn't want to be there.
He was the worst.
Yeah. So, also, too, I remember that he sued Tamra and Shannon, too, which also I'm not a fan of. The fact that you're suing other women on the show. Right. I don't actually remember why he did that, though. Why did he do that?
He did it because they were talking shit about him on their podcast.
Oh. Oh.
Oops.
Oh, okay.
No, I think they were on Heather McDonald's podcast. I'm not sure. And they're talking about one of his businesses. I don't know. They said some things that he didn't take a liking to.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, maybe we should just nip this in the bud right here. I don't have the kind of money to fight a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did not make it. Their marriage did not make it. And they divorced, and she's with Johnny J. Johnny J, a.k.a. John Jansen, a.k.a. Shannon Beador's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, you got to rebrand.
He did. He rebranded. I'm not a fan of his. I like Alexis. I'm looking forward to seeing her. I'm not looking forward to seeing him. I think he's gross. I think it's fine if Alexis wants to date him. I don't think it's fine for him to want to date Alexis, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh. No, I get that. Like, I don't think Alexis owes Shannon anything. I don't think they were ever friends. They never filmed together either. So they weren't ever, an overlap of any kind.
Right. But it would be nice if he felt like he owed Shannon something, like some decency. And I don't even like Shannon. I'm not a Shannon fan. But I feel like Alexis didn't matter. Johnny J did.
Yeah.
So, not a fan. And we have Peggy Tanos. She wasn't around too long. We have Jim the Chin making a cameo for Peggy Tanos. Yeah. She said that they dated briefly. She stalked his apartment.
Mm-hmm. Got a little weird there.
Yeah, really weird there. And then he called into the reunion to talk about, though I don't know how this guy's getting anybody, but that was weird.
Right.
Nobody knew.
No.
Alexis didn't know. That came out of nowhere. Her face.
Yeah.
So, but who she's married to is Micah, who set aside the bedazzled jeans and all that. He seemed like a decent guy.
Yeah, I thought so. I don't remember having any bad feeling towards him. Or not
me
liking
neither.
him.
No, not the best, not the worst. Again, he was fine. Heather Dubrow, married to Terry Dubrow.
Yes.
I've kind of always liked Terry.
I know. I think that I know that he wants to be on the show. I think he does like it. I think he enjoys a bit of that performative, aspect. But I don't know. I always thought they were a good couple, though. I never thought that, like some of these toxic couples.
Yeah.
They ever had, really.
He's a bit goofy.
Yeah.
Really bad dad jokes, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But I like Terry. I think he's one of the better ones.
I would agree.
Lydia was married to Doug on the show.
Are they they're still together, right?
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't think much, really.
Yeah,
I really have a thought.
I wasn't a huge fan of them as a couple in general. Like I wasn't a fan of Lydia, so I didn't care for him either, but
yeah.
He didn't do anything wrong necessarily. Lizzie and Christian.
No, they are not together anymore.
No, not anymore. I think she divorced him. I'm sorry, he was smoking hot. I think he's probably the best looking guy on this franchise.
Oh, okay.
And in a lot of franchises. I thought he was cute. They filmed a lot of scenes together, like couple scenes, where they all, like, the whole cast went to dinner or something like that. I don't think we saw him that much.
No, I don't remember seeing him that much.
I don't know if he was a decent guy or not. I just remember him being super hot.
It's all that matters.
It's not all that matters, but
it's all that matters in this game that we're playing.
Okay, sure. Then Shannon Beador. She was married to David.
Oh my God.
When the season started.
They might have been the worst couple on this franchise.
Yeah, they were hard to watch as a couple.
I think that they were a very awkward couple. I think they were done way, way longer than they should not have been together as long as they were. They really should have broken up a long, long time ago. It's just, I'm not sure if they knew they were getting the show and they stayed together for it.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have cheated if they had gotten divorced when they should have gotten divorced.
Right.
She just seemed to yell at him a lot.
She's a bit of a nitpicker.
I mean, he's a grown man. You're making dinner and he's eating chips and you're yelling at him, and I'm just thinking, he's a grown man.
Right.
He can eat both, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. She was hard to get along with. That doesn't excuse anything that he did. End the marriage. Don't cheat.
Right. Well, he's just a weird guy, too. I mean, they're all those... Now that he's with his new wife, girlfriend, are they divorced as well? What's up with that?
I don't know. They've filed multiple times.
I mean, taking weird pictures out in the woods and...
Totally naked.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they had shoes on. Yeah, he's a weird guy. I mean, Shannon might be hard to deal with, but That's no excuse. He's a weird guy. You chose her. Mm-hmm. Then, after they divorced, she started dating John Jansen. We already talked about John. Yeah. Not a fan. Mm-hmm. I don't think he was that great to her either. Megan King, who at the time was Megan King Edmonds. Jim Edmonds, former baseball player.
I am convinced he did not like her.
I don't know if he liked anybody. I don't know if there's a person on this planet that he likes.
I just remember literally she was waving to somebody and he's like, you're waving to nobody.
I have that picture on my phone. He had very little patience with her, but she was a lot younger. He tends to go for young women.
Yeah.
And what do you expect?
Right.
You know? You don't pick somebody in your age bracket and then they're not as mature as you.
And they still want kids and all that stuff too. So it's like he had an older daughter already and everything like that. So I don't really know if he even wanted kids.
He just seemed miserable.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
Just a miserable guy. So. Kelly Dodd. She was married to Michael in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember him.
They had a weird relationship too.
Yeah.
I can see why people are like, OC might be the franchise.
I know, right? I'm looking through the list. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. This was weird.
He was on a bit. He kind of, I don't know.
I remember Kelly saying that, this is based off of Kelly, so I don't know, that he was a narcissist. So if that's the case, that he was actually diagnosed with it.
Really?
Yes,
I remember didn't get that vibe on the show.
Well, I don't know. This is coming from Kelly, so I have no idea. But I remember her saying that, so I don't know if that had to do with a lot of their issues that they had as a couple.
I didn't like him, but I can't really pinpoint why. And then they divorced, and she's married to Rick now. Was that on the show?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I don't ever remember.
Then we don't even need to talk about him.
Awesome.
Let's move on. Peggy Sulahan.
Yeah, the 100th housewife. That.
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
She was married to Deco.
Yeah, I remember him. I don't remember much about him. I remember him, but I don't really think one way or the other.
I don't either. He was just there.
Yep.
Moving on. Gina. Gina was married to Matt when she joined the show. Matt, we never saw in the beginning. He was working out of town, doing some other things out of town. And that all came out that he was cheating on her. She was devastated. Then they had a bit of a domestic violence incident as well. So, as attractive as he was physically, he would be the polar opposite, as a person.
Yes.
Not cool.
No.
She divorced him, and now she is with Travis.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's really good for her. I think they have a good relationship. He has kids, she has kids, and they're kind of all together. I don't know this season if he moved out of their house. I don't know. Because based off the trailer. But I would like them to be okay then. If they're not okay right now, I hope that they are.
Same. Yeah, we saw a scene in the trailer where he talks about moving out. I don't know if that's just for the show or not. But I like him a lot too. He seems like a really decent, good guy.
Yeah.
Then we have Emily, who's married to Shane. Shane was a bit of a slow burn for me.
Yeah, in the beginning, he did not really have the best edit, we can say.
Yeah.
I remember Gina getting kind of thrown out of their house and him being upset at her.
Oh, at the noise.
Yeah, at the noise. Right. So I remember him not being probably the nicest. I will say that he was trying to pass the bar exam, and maybe that had caused a little bit of stress, and that's why it was heightened a little bit.
We can go with that.
Because I'm going to fight for him because I like him now. So I'm going to chalk it up to that.
I would agree. I was not a fan in the beginning. I did a complete 180 on Shane.
I think he's so funny.
I think he's super funny. As long as he treats Emily well.
Yeah.
Bronwyn. She was married to Sean. They share 7 kids? 9 kids?
Or 8. I don't even know.
Oh my God, how do we not know? We lost count.
Well, once you get past, 7, then it's like, if there's more, then we'll just go with 7.
I liked Sean.
I did too. I remember liking him as well.
I wasn't that big of a fan of hers. I think she was a bit all over the place.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Shannon for me. I guess I'm not drawn to that vibe.
Yeah.
It kind of throws me off. So I wasn't really a fan of hers, but I liked Sean. I thought maybe because he seemed like the calming presence
Probably.
in the relationship. So he seemed like a good guy.
He seems like a good dad.
Right.
So.
Elizabeth Vargas. Apparently she had a boyfriend. I don't know if we saw him or not. She was such a nothing for me that season that I know, very little about her, so even less about who she dated. So,
yeah.
And I actually don't care. Jen Armstrong, Dr. Jen.
Yeah.
She was with Ryan.
Oh my God. It's so stupid.
Now, she's explained it. His name was Ryan.
Yeah.
He just changed it one day. Just like, call me Ryan.
Well, what's really funny about that, too, is that I guarantee you people still call him Ryan. And not because not because he changed his name. It's just because they don't know how to say it. You're going to assume that it's... Or it
sounds exactly the same. What's your name? Ryan. Oh, Ryan.
Yeah. No, Ryan. What? Yeah, that's what I said. No, Ryan.
And he was, so in love with that dog.
More so than
her.
Jen. Yeah.
I actually think I know they separated for a while. I don't know what's going on with them either, since they're not on the show anymore. He was just a weird guy.
Yeah. I remember liking her, though, on the show.
Well, that scene at Heather Dubrow's where she got drunk, as uncomfortable as it was, I would watch that over and over again. I thought it was hilarious. Noella, who started off the season married to James and ended the season not being able to find him.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
What was
He just
that?
left. Just literally left.
What was that?
It was weird.
He took off to Mexico.
That was almost like okay, I don't want to see this on the show. I think you need to quit this show and you need to figure out what's going on, with your life here, because something weird is going on.
Dude left and went to another country. That's insane. So, not a fan.
Yeah.
So lastly, we have Jennifer, who is partnered up with Jean Jacket Ryan.
Yeah. Partners in crime, so you could say.
God. Yeah, a bit of a scandal associated with his name.
He has immunity and is working with the FBI, and they are involved in the Otani gambling scandal. So, not a real winner,
no,
I don't think.
Then he has the reputation of being a bit of a man whore.
Right.
And cheating on her.
Which she actually, I think, knows about. Yeah. And didn't seem to care.
Away.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with her. I actually liked her a lot. And I liked Tamra a lot. However, I thought Tamra was very hard on her. But I don't like Ryan for her at all. No. I think he's terrible. I feel bad that she's staying with him. I really wish she would, reevaluate.
Yeah. Because he's a mess. You don't want, regardless of what involvement you are with the FBI, is not good. No.
She's acting like the immunity meant that he didn't do anything wrong.
Right, which is
Girl, the only
opposite.
reason why he's not in prison is because he's a snitch.
Right.
That's it.
Right. It actually means that you did do something, but we need information from you. So we're going to just,
If he took someone else's money to gamble with, what do you think he's doing with your money?
Right. They go to Vegas an awful lot, too. So.
I wish she'd wake up, but, she's got to live her life, I guess. So, Grace, we're at the end of that very long list of names. We're going to go with our worst choice in-house husband, our best choice, and then our favorite choice. So we'll start with you. Who is your worst choice for house husband?
I am going to go with the OG worst husband or partner, I could say, and go with Slade. I think out of this list, he was so horrible. He didn't pay any of the child support, which I know that we brought up too. I just think that is absolutely disgusting. I thought he was way too involved with the women, especially when he did that comedy thing and then made a crack about Vicki and Miss Piggy and
her
stuff
appearance.
like that. Yes.
Yeah, that's awful.
So I am not a fan. I think he's terrible. I realize that other things might be worse, like crime stuff, but for me, I'm going with him.
Okay. Well, no, that's all valid. I went with Brooks.
Yeah.
I mean, to allegedly, I gotta keep throwing allegedly in there, to allegedly fake cancer, to come up with all these receipts that were phony to back it up, to say that you would want somebody to hit your girlfriend's daughter to keep her in line, and he drank a lot. He got a whole set of teeth out of her. He would drive her car around, Brianna said. He just was gross, and I think he was taking money from her left and right. She even sued him, I believe, to get money back from him. Mm-hmm. He was all around bad news. Yeah. Great season, worst guy.
Agreed.
All right, who is your choice for best husband?
Okay, my choice for best, I am going to go with Travis.
Aww.
I just really, really like him. I think he is so sweet to Gina. I think that he really helped her through a hard time with her divorce and with Matt and all that stuff. And I just think he's a really great guy.
I like him too. I think he's a super guy. I think they're great together. Their families look like they mesh well together. I think that's a good choice. My best was Eddie.
Yeah.
And for all the reasons we already stated. I think he was always respectful and a gentleman to everybody. And he didn't get involved in the drama. He tried to ground Tamra in a lot of stuff. So he would be my best. Who is your favorite husband?
Well, my favorite I picked was Shane. And you could probably guess that based off the way that I was defending him a little bit earlier. But I find him so funny. It's not that he's the best, obviously. I just find him to be hilarious and snarky. And that's it.
Well, I will co-sign that with you. I wasn't sure who I was going to pick, and I went back and forth, and I ultimately landed on Shane as well. He totally turned me around. Yeah. I was not a fan, and now I'm a huge fan. And so he would be my favorite as well, because I just find him entertaining now in any scene that I see him in. Mm-hmm. I mean, when he was talking to Kelly Dodd, that's your natural behavior?
I don't.
Oh. I mean, he's too funny to me.
Yeah.
So that wraps up Real Housewives of OC.
Mm-hmm.
On to the next franchise.
So let's talk about the men from Atlanta.
Okay.
So we'll start with NeNe. So she was married to Greg.
Right.
And then divorced and then married again.
Right. For me, there were lots I saw that I liked about Greg. Mm-hmm. And then when they started going through their divorce, he got a bit mean.
Yeah. Didn't he talk about her on the radio?
Yeah. Like yeah. So, I don't know. Overall, I think Greg was a great husband. He seemed supportive. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
So, I don't have too many bad things to say about Greg, and I probably wouldn't anyway. Mm-hmm. So, Greg was a good husband.
Okay. And then we have, also for NeNe, we have John. Rolex John.
Rolex, John. I mean, he's given her a Rolex. He was
Oh,
creepy.
and he gave her shoes, I think, too. Didn't he give her Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was just kind of creepy. I don't know what that whole deal was.
It was a little weird.
Think they were truly a couple.
I don't
what was
think he
it?
wasn't into him at all.
I'm not even sure why he was there.
I don't remember how they
Was
met.
he trying to get her involved in business dealings or something? I don't even know why he was around.
I don't know.
He was creepy.
He was creepy. Which is funny because he gives me the same type of energy that John from Roni does. Dorinda's John.
Oh.
Like, they give me the same...
Fat white men?
Just, yeah, they give me the same energy.
Yeah, he was creepy.
So, we have Deshawn and then her husband, Eric. I'm not sure that they're together anymore.
Gosh, I wouldn't know. I barely remember Deshawn.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know who she is, but I don't remember a lot about season 1. I have to rewatch it. Eric, I don't know who he is at all.
No.
I do remember that she had a charity event and they raised exactly $0. Now that I think about it. How much did you raise? We didn't raise anything. Yeah. But as far as Eric goes, don't know him.
Right. Oh, next we're going to move on to Sheree.
Oof.
She's got 3 men, and all 3, I'm not sure which one is the worst out of the 3. Her choice in men is a little off. So, she was married to Bob.
Horrible.
Disgusting.
Yes. I mean, we saw him a little bit, then we had a few seasons without him, and then we saw him come back. Mm-hmm. And he was as bad as the beginning. I mean, he didn't pay child support. He was a cheater. And then he comes back and he makes, like, domestic violence jokes and stuff in front of her face.
That was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And just, like, heartbreaking thing to see her cry like that.
Same.
And to do that in front of people, too. Like, in front of... I know Kenya was there in the car.
And so was Phaedra.
Yeah.
It was horrible. He's gross.
Next, we have Tyrone, who was, I believe, in jail.
I think she used to go see him in jail.
Yeah.
I think
he was also the one when NeNe and her got into a fight. He was the one on the phone. Do you remember that? That was him, like about the booking or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, that was him. Because I remember being like, I'm going to call Tyrone. And then that was where, like, the whole, I'm cashing checks type thing, like the Trump checks thing. That was where that
was he the one that stood her up? Or was that Marcy?
No, that was him. That was Tyrone.
So she was supposed to meet him in Philly when he got out of jail.
Right.
And she waited, and then he said he didn't think he could because of his parole or something?
I don't know. Probably a wise decision to not meet her on camera, but at least tell her,
Right. Didn't bother to call, nothing. Just embarrassed her.
Right.
God.
So, we have him. Then we have Martell.
Her third pick.
Her third pick, exactly.
I think he's on another show, too, where it was all about the woman he was with. So he clearly was with multiple people at multiple times.
I mean, the women were ready to go in on him, like asking him questions and stuff. I remember that, especially Kenya.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Right, trying to look out for Sheree.
Yeah.
Her picker is so off.
I don't know how you don't learn from previous mistakes.
Because these 3 are some of the worst 3 ever.
Yes, that's what I mean. They're particularly bad. It's not just like, little things happen here and there and stuff didn't work out. No. These all have major
flaws. Yes. Agreed. God, her choices. All right.
So then, still with season 1, we have Lisa and Ed.
I know they're divorced. I liked Ed at the time. I don't know why they're divorced, so maybe there's something I don't know.
Right, maybe.
But for the most part, not the best, not the worst, but he seemed fine.
Yep. Then we have Kim and Big Papa.
God. It is so amazing to me that somebody can film a show like this where the man is clearly married and she has no shame whatsoever
I know.
dating him, sleeping with him, taking his money, calling him, all knowing he's married, and she's fine with it. She's going to put it all on TV.
All right.
That's who she was. That's who she is.
Yes.
And the thought that some guy would come around after that and marry her, I'm just stunned, but there you have it.
Right, that leads us into Croy, then.
Who I really liked. I don't know, I think right now we're seeing him at his worst and at his all-time low.
Yeah.
So, divorce is hard. You're living in the same house still. They have the cops called, like, every other week, it would seem. For the most part, I liked Croy.
I know.
I think he gave up his whole family for her, and it just bit him in the butt at the end because she's terrible.
I would agree. Yeah, I liked him at the time, too. But, I even remember watching their show, like their separate show, and liking him. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's disappointing to see where they are now, especially for him. Not necessarily because I care about her, but him.
Because they lost it all.
Yeah.
All his money from the NFL, any sort of money he had saved, if he had any. He never really got a job after that because he was following her around. He had to drive her everywhere. So he never really got into possibly being a broadcaster or anything. He just left the NFL after that and didn't look back.
Right, being her chauffeur didn't pay.
Yeah, he had to sit out in the parking lot the whole time, right? So he got nothing out of it, and then she gambled away all their money.
Yeah.
They don't even have a home. Their home's in foreclosure.
Yikes.
And I read that her car, they are trying to get repoed, the company.
Oh.
Because her and her daughter haven't been paying on the car. Like, they have nothing. And
yeah, that's too bad.
So, yeah, I feel bad for him.
Yeah. So we have Candy, and then she was with AJ first before she was with Todd.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
He was murdered, I think.
Was it that?
I think it was outside of a club or something, and he was shot.
Oh. I remember him, passing away, but I didn't remember why.
I think so. The whole thing was sad. He seemed like a nice dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't know.
I feel bad for Candy.
Right. So then after AJ, she met Todd, who was actually one of the camera guys.
I don't mind Todd. I think Mama Joyce gives him a terrible time.
Oh,
I think he has been more than patient and respectful to her.
I would agree, yes.
So much so that I don't know of anyone else who wouldn't have snapped on her ass.
I know.
So I give him all the credit for that. He's done it for Candy.
Yes.
So I like Todd. I mean, I think he seems like a good guy. He never stopped working when he met Candy because she's very wealthy. He could have just stopped doing everything. He's an entrepreneur. He's, has all these things going on. They have a cute family. So I like Todd.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. So we'll move on to Cynthia and Peter. Wow. What a guy Peter was.
Peter was more interesting than Cynthia.
Oh my God, I found him fascinating.
He is... How do you describe Peter? He was more of a housewife than a house husband. He
showed up more than
everything.
Cynthia.
He had opinions on everything. He was into everything. He was a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm. But that's okay.
But on a reality show, it's kind of what you want.
You need a little bit of that.
Typically, I don't like men being involved a lot.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Peter was one of those men that were involved a lot, but he was interesting. He just wasn't... Sometimes he wasn't very nice, though. And I do think he cheated on Cynthia. He wanted his own apartment. Remember she was going through those issues with
the
fibroids?
Yes.
And she was in so much pain. And he's like, well, it's bothering me. So I think I might need my own apartment just to get away from you.
Oh, yeah. I kind of forgot about that. I think I blocked that out. Okay, I'm rethinking some choices here.
Well, he was great to watch.
Yeah, I know.
But as a person, I mean, he's had his own issues with DUIs and all that kind of stuff too now.
But that wasn't on the show, so I don't feel like we can count that right
Okay,
now.
noted. I have a feeling that he might be in one of your choices, so we'll ignore that. Okay, who else?
So, we also have Mike for Cynthia as well. She was married to him. Had to get married on 10/10/20 or whatever it was.
In the middle of COVID.
Yeah, had to do that. Awesome.
I gotta say, when a man has all women as their best friends, it's a red flag for me. You have no buddies. You know, you're in sports, but you hang around with 10 different women.
Right.
Like,
why?
No.
Yeah, I think that's a little
So
weird.
it kind of was set for failure. But, I don't know. He was a nothing to me, though.
Right.
He was just there.
Yeah, I think so, too. So, for Phaedra, we have Apollo. Oh, wait. Let me go back. So, also for Cynthia, honorable mention to her ex-husband, whose name escapes me at the moment, but was super hot.
Cynthia?
Yeah. Remember her ex-husband?
Leon!
Yes.
Oh,
Leon.
my God. How did we forget Leon?
You forgot Leon. I did not forget Leon.
Wow. Yes, he was super hot.
Yes.
And charming.
Yes.
And sweet. And a great dad. Oh.
I don't know what happened to get divorced.
I might have to change my fave because I forgot about Leon. He wasn't in the show enough for me.
I needed to see him more.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he was smoking hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Good one.
Yes. So we'll move on to Phaedra, who was married to Apollo.
Also smoking hot,
right.
But he had his issues.
Yeah.
We did see him on camera report for jail.
Right.
Or prison.
Uh-huh.
So, not great. No. That would go in the con
Literally?
list. Literally
a
con
con.
list, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. A pro, though, is that him and Phaedra have really cute kids. They're adorable.
Very cute.
So that's a pro.
And you know, he did come back on the last Married to Medicine reunion and back her up.
I know.
Which was a shock.
I was surprised by that as well.
But I was somewhat pleasantly surprised. You know, I thought Phaedra's going on this focused couples show and doesn't have anyone. She's going on all these trips by herself. So for the reunion, to have someone sit behind her, even though they're not together, it was nice to see for the support. So I thought that was cool.
Agreed. Then we have Mr. Chocolate.
Mr. Chocolate. Alleged.
Yes.
Do you know who Mr. Chocolate is?
No.
Mr. Chocolate is allegedly Giselle's ex-husband, Pastor Holy Whore.
Stop.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
I can't think of Pastor Holy Whore's name.
Jamal.
Jamal.
Just because you just call him that.
Yeah. That was the rumor, that he was the one that she was seeing. Why we'll have to get into that when we talk about Potomac.
Uh-huh.
But why anyone would come near him not fully wrapped in, protectant gauze, I don't know, because he is disgusting. But that was the rumor, that he was...
Oh my gosh.
Does that blow you away?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. His horrible, horrible reputation, and yet he still finds women that are like, sure, I'll give it a try.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, so her two choices aren't the greatest, but Apollo at least looked good. And gave her 2 beautiful kids. So.
Right, there you go. Okay. Kenya also has had her fair share of iffy men.
Yeah, I see 3 men on the list.
Yes. We'll start with Walter.
That whole thing blew up in her face.
It really did. I think she just wanted somebody to film with and to have somebody, and
I think she just wanted, just go along with it, Walter. Whatever I say, whatever I do, just go along with it. And the second she threw out marriage, Walter had a coronary. And he's like, "Arr! Wait, marriage? Girl, I don't even know you."
Yeah, I didn't sign up for that. That's not what was agreed upon. You didn't say you were going to do that.
He panicked.
Yeah.
He panicked and he spilled it all.
Right.
So that kind of blew up in her face. But
yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Kenya. So, next is Matt.
Matt was bad news.
Yeah, he was not a great guy.
It got dark there.
It did.
Because once they started having issues, then he would go by her house and like damage her garage door and break all her lights.
Yeah.
Until it actually turned physical with her driver. He like punched her driver through the car window.
Yeah, he was not a great guy.
No, that was scary shit.
Yeah. And then Mark, who she was married to.
I'm torn here.
How is somebody so gorgeous and hot?
Yes.
This horrible?
That's where I'm torn.
How?
Because he clearly is nasty, vindictive, wanted to, keep this divorce going on and on and on.
Yeah.
Yet sent from heaven because he is gorgeous.
Yes.
Like, he could be, for me, the most attractive house husband of all the franchises.
Yes.
Just physical appearance, looking at him, I find him pretty much perfect.
I would agree with that.
And
Which
then,
is what makes this so difficult.
when we... Yes. That one episode where they were filming that event for Kenya.
Yeah.
And he was just... You kind of saw who he was there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, okay. He's terrible.
That was too bad. He's literally, to quote Taylor Swift, he's a nightmare dressed like a daydream.
Yes.
Because...
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem like he sees this kid at all.
It does not.
Yet
no.
he fought her over everything in the divorce.
Even her house, too. Like, it's not even your house, dude.
I know. He was trash.
Yeah. So...
But so
bye.
beautiful.
We'll keep an eye on him from afar.
Exactly.
So, we have Portia, who also has 3 different...
These women.
I know. I don't know who they're picking. So, Portia was married to Cordell in the beginning.
We knew Cordell because we follow football. Cordell used to be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I didn't realize he was so old school.
Yeah.
He was very like, the wife needs to be home, the wife needs to be cooking and cleaning and not going anywhere, and she had to ask his permission for shit.
Right. Didn't they go to Vegas and she had to call him because they were going to like a strip club or something
like
that?
I don't even think she went, or unless I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
But yes, she had to ask permission. It's like, I mean, Portia now, it's like the exact
that's
opposite.
what's so weird.
Yeah.
Is like, would you even imagine that was her if you went back to those seasons?
So I wasn't a fan of Cordell's.
Then we have Dennis, the hot dog king.
See, and he's like the opposite of Mark because I don't find him attractive, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, he seemed fun. And I get why attractive women have some really unattractive men. Because he seemed charming and personable and fun, yet clearly all the women felt that way.
Right.
Because he cheated on Portia. We saw a whole season and stuff where she focused on trying to get over all that because he cheated. So
everybody likes the fun guy.
Everybody does. Too much. So, yeah. Once you cheat, you're kind of dead to me, so.
Right. And then Simon.
which is playing out right now.
Right.
All that shit.
Oh my God.
Simon, who probably shouldn't be in this country.
Yeah.
Like fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud,
Been
identity.
deported also several times.
Yes. And then identity fraud but he's still opening his mouth about Portia on a daily basis on his Instagram.
Yeah, like, dude, let it go, man.
I mean,
you need to keep quiet right now. You need to literally pretend like you don't exist.
Yeah. I know. Because maybe they'll forget again for another 20 years that you're here.
Right, and let it slide.
Because that's what happens.
Yes. Claudia was on as well, but I don't think we ever saw anybody for her.
No, I don't think anybody. Not even a boyfriend.
No. And so that brings us to Kim Fields and her husband, Christopher.
I loved Christopher. I thought he was a good guy. I thought he was really sweet. Loved Kim. He took a beating from a lot of the women unfairly because he was involved in theater and the arts and acting and all that. And so they really wanted to label him, which is so stupid.
Right.
It was gross. And he took it like, he took it like a gentleman. But I remember that reunion where Andy was like just fed up with it.
I remember that
and
too.
stuck up for Christopher. But I liked him. I didn't love Kim as a housewife. I thought I would love her.
I know. As a person, I think she
just couldn't handle it because she's actually seems like a nice girl.
Right.
And a nice woman. And Kenya really kind of came for her.
Yeah.
And she didn't know how to handle it. And she didn't want to get ugly on camera or anything. So Housewives really wasn't the spot for her. Mm-mm. So.
Yeah.
But her husband seemed nice.
Then we have Shamari and her husband, Ronnie.
I love Ronnie. I was a huge New Edition fan. So, and Ronnie was always my favorite. And I got to be honest, we're not talking about Housewives. Shamari is one of my favorite housewives. I love her. I thought she was so funny, so fun. She took down Marlo constantly. I mean, she wasn't afraid of anyone. She was fearless. The clips that I post on Twitter of her are so funny. I miss her desperately. I think she was exactly what Atlanta needed. And I know she left. I think her and Ronnie didn't like kind of the edit they were getting and all that kind of stuff. So I think she's one of the few housewives that actually left. Mm-hmm. I miss her a lot. So, and I like Ronnie a lot. I thought, we didn't see that much of him, but
right.
I like them as a couple.
So then Eva and Michael, who she was obviously married to, but now they are no longer, which is sad.
I mean, we thought we'd love him. He adopted her kids.
I know. I thought that was so sweet, too, that
or he adopted her daughter.
Yeah, and got her name changed and all that, too.
Yeah. And then he went, and we think he cheated on her because of all that came out. He's like, I'm going to do everything I can to win her back. And she's just like, I won't forgive certain things. And clearly, I think he cheated.
Okay.
Very disappointing.
I know.
Dude, you have one of the most gorgeous women on the planet.
I know.
What else do you want, though?
Yeah.
I liked Eva. I thought she was fun.
So that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Then Drew, we have Tampa Ralph.
Tampa.
Tampa for short.
Is it okay to love somebody terrible?
I feel you in that sentiment.
Because he is terrible. I know that he's terrible. My brain tells me that Ralph was a terrible husband.
Yes.
Cheater.
Yeah. In Tampa.
In Tampa. His cousin Courtney, awful. Everything, he was a bit of a gaslighter. Yeah. So everything in my head says, don't love this man. He will hurt you. I don't know.
That's what Drew said to herself, too, and look where she is now.
I know. I get that he's terrible. I will miss him.
He's fascinating to watch. Like, you can see him lie, and you can see him, like,
his
thought process. And
he's not quick enough to lie.
No, he's not.
So, yeah, no. Everything about him screams, horrible, stay away. Yet my heart says, come closer.
She had to ask him a million times, where were you? Where were you? I don't know where you went.
And he was in the strip capital of the world.
Tampa.
You know who else lived in Tampa?
No.
Cousin Courtney.
You're kidding.
No, she was from Tampa.
Are we
too.
sure they're cousins? Do we really know
Kissing
that?
cousins?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if she's a cousin, it's a very, very distant cousin.
Okay.
I have no idea. I mean, the way she hugged him and embraced him at the reunion was a bit weird for me.
Yeah, like, I'm here for you.
I bet you are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I have very torn, mixed feelings about Ralph because I get it. You could explain every single reason, all 100 reasons why he's horrible, and I just kind of glob onto that one reason why he's not. So, I get it.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Marlo, who we never saw anybody for her. There were been alleged, like, sugar daddies at some point, but I don't think we ever knew who it was or anything like that.
There were rumors that it was Ted Turner, who was the owner of a network. What was it?
Oh.
Yeah, Turner Broadcasting. But that was never proven. She's one of the few people that has been able to keep all that stuff under wraps, I think.
I know, she's been on for a long time. I know not as a housewife full time, but she's been on for a long time.
So she doesn't really have anybody.
Okay. And then last we have Sonia and her husband Aaron, who I loved. Yeah. I just thought he was so sweet. I thought he was fairly quiet too. And
he was adorable.
Yes, he was absolutely adorable. The way you feel about Mark is kind of the way I feel about Aaron. I just think he's so hot.
And he went by Ross too.
Oh yeah, I think he did too. Yes, Ross on the show.
His only major con would be that he played for the New York Giants because we are Philadelphia Eagle fans. So
yeah, so I guess that's a con.
So that would be a con. But I
think I can get past it.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. I thought he was sweet, adorable, good husband, all those things. And he was very supportive of Sonia.
Yes, agreed. So, that is the end of the list there. So, let's move on to the questions then. Who do you think is the worst?
I picked Bob Whitfield.
Yes, that was my choice as well.
Yeah,
probably for the same reasons.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the other men here, like for Sheree in particular, she wasn't married to. She could have left any time. Bob was married to her, never paid child support, just gaslit the hell out of her. Then you add in possible domestic violence and all that stuff. I'm just not messing around with that. No. And he didn't seem remotely sorry.
Agreed. The fact that you would even make a joke about that is you're not sorry and you're just a really, really crap
honorable
person.
mention would be Mark, but
yes.
But I went with Bob.
I went with Bob as well. That's what I had written down as well. So who would you say your favorite is then? So who would you say is the best?
For best, I went with Aaron Ross.
I did too.
Really?
Yes.
For all the reasons, we literally just finished discussing him, so rewind, playback. Mm-hmm. That's why.
Yeah. Well, let's see if we have a different favorite then. Who is your favorite?
My controversial favorite is Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa.
They could never make me stop loving you, Ralph. I get it.
I know.
You can send hate mail of why he's horrible, and I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I would agree with absolutely everything that anyone has to say about why he is the worst, but I just...
That's how I feel about Peter, and that is my choice.
Oh my God.
For literally all the reasons, though, that you just mentioned as to why you like Ralph, I found Peter to be fascinating. I don't know. I guess he brought something that Cynthia wasn't bringing, and that's what we needed.
Favorite doesn't mean best.
Oh,
That's why
right.
we have two categories for it. Favorite just means it's, who you find enjoying.
Yes.
And
the whole bar one thing, everything like that was surrounding that was funny and interesting to me. So yes, that's why I went with him.
All right. Well, I cannot fault you for that.
Uh-huh.
So.
I can't fault you for Tampa.
All right.
We'll call it,
Call it even.
Yes.
Let's talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, there's only 7 men to talk about, so it might be a pretty short discussion. But we'll start with Meredith, who's married to Seth.
I like Seth. I don't feel negatively towards him like I do some of the other ones. So I think he can be funny too. So I don't mind Seth. I like where their relationship now is too. I know that they were really on a rough road there, and I think they kind of pulled it back together.
Yeah, I agree. I think they were on the brink of divorce, and he seemed heartbroken over it. I think they have a good relationship now. It's nice to see that a couple can survive something like that. So I like him too. And I also think he's funny.
When I saw them trying to record for their podcast, the story of him, like he's literally kind of crying too, and she didn't hit the record button, was one of the funniest things. Like, oh my God, I just poured my heart out here and you didn't get any of it.
Yeah, I like him too. Then we have Lisa Barlow, who's married to John. He's a bit vanilla.
Yeah.
He's quiet. Actually, he's everything you want in a house husband. He's quiet, soft-spoken, doesn't get involved.
Right.
Just stands in the background.
Mm-hmm. You can defend your wife and you can, do all that, but you're not vocal about it and you're just,
do
you're
it
just
privately.
there. Yes, do it privately.
Then we have Whitney, who is married to Justin.
Where are they now in their relationship? Do you know? Are they kind of divorced? Are they separated?
I have
Where
no
are
idea.
they?
I don't even know if that was... She at one point had said he's not wearing his ring because he gained so much weight that it doesn't fit.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if people kind of ran with that and, made it sound like they were separating. I know they had some problems. Every couple has problems. So I don't know if they just wanted to kind of play it up because there's not really too much to talk about with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're a result of affairs. Both of them had affairs on their previous partners and got married.
Right.
But now, I don't think much of him.
Yeah, I don't
Good or
either. The only reason why I'm gonna go bad is just because I didn't need to see that weird painting thing that they did. So that's why.
Yeah,
I'm going
I don't
that
need
way.
to see you spank your wife. That's okay. Then we have Heather. I don't think we ever saw Heather's ex on the show.
I don't know. If we did, it might have been only once, but I don't actually even really remember his name.
I don't know his name either.
Yeah, so it wasn't... If we saw him, it would have been because of her girls.
Right.
That's it.
Jen Shah. She's married to Coach Sharif. Coach Shah. I've always liked Coach Sharif. I would like to think that he didn't know what his wife was doing, although being a former attorney, I find that hard to believe.
I know. I'm not sure, though, because he was always gone. Like, literally always gone.
Because he's a scouting coach for basketball.
Yeah. So, I don't know. How do you know what's going on? I mean, I would think maybe you would question, hey, where are we getting all this money from? Your business is doing that well. What are you doing?
I know, right?
I
don't know. Personally, as a dude, I like him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what he knew.
Yeah. What did you know?
What did you know? Then we have Mary M. Cosby, who is married to Robert. I don't know how deep we want to go with this one.
I don't think we need to go that deep because I think everybody knows the story and everything. It's not favorable.
No, and I tend to think she was so young, I don't know if she quite knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But I blame him.
Right.
You're such an older man. What are you doing?
It's creepy. It's not where you want to be. I don't love that relationship. Actually, I don't think Mary even likes him.
No.
She loves when he's gone.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't think they sleep in the same bedroom. I think she should just cut him loose completely at this point. I don't know if you can. She's not Mormon, though, is she? No, she's got a church.
Right.
I don't know what she is. Well, cut him loose then, Mary.
Yeah. You got the church. You're there. You're good.
Then we have Jenny,
Ugh.
who we have to mention because she was an actual housewife.
Right.
We don't like her. She's a racist. She's gross. But her husband, Dewey, I don't know. Birds of a feather? I find it hard to believe your wife is that horrible and you're an angel.
I know, right? I would think that that's probably the case.
I would think so, too. So, gross on both of you.
Yes.
Monica. Controversial statement here. I loved Monica. I thought she was so good on the show. I don't really care what happened. I don't. She's not my friend. She's not somebody who calls me. I'm fine watching her. Oh, wait. We're talking about husbands, right?
Right.
Okay.
Reel it in.
Reel it in. Okay.
That's
I don't know who her ex-husband is. I don't know his name. He was never on the show. She has said he's a good dad. He pays child support.
There you go. It's the two things that you
So
need.
he's in the top.
Yes. Is it better than a lot of other ones who don't pay child support that we've gone through on this list? So that's a plus.
Exactly. Then the last person we have is Angie K, who's married to Sean.
I like Sean. I liked him this season too. I felt bad for him that he was really just deeply hurt that anybody would say that he was cheating on Angie.
I like him a lot too. And yes, it wasn't that they were calling him gay, that rumor. He didn't care about that. It's that you're saying that I'm cheating.
Well, and he's probably heard that his whole life. I mean, he's a hairdresser. You're going to get that in that profession. It's stupid, but you're going to.
It's a stereotype that's very old.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I agree that he's a salon owner, so he's going to get that stereotype. But at this point, my God, can we grow up from that?
Right.
So I really liked him too. I thought he was a good guy. That's it. That's all we have. So let's go into our choices. Worst.
I picked Robert.
I co-sign that. I picked Robert as well.
Okay, good. You know, for the reasons we mentioned, it's gross. I don't really want to even talk about their relationship that much. Everybody knows. So yes. I'm just like, you know why.
You know why.
You know why.
Best.
I picked Sean as my best.
So did I.
Well, there's only 7, but I have a feeling we could have the same favorite too, probably.
Could be.
I just liked him on the show. I think him and Angie are a good pair, and I liked him a lot.
Right. I did too. Your favorite. Don't say Seth.
I did pick Seth.
Okay, so did I. And for all the same reasons. He's funny. He's sweet. They have a great relationship now. He was willing to work at it. You know, he's my fave. I like watching him.
I know, so do I. That's so funny that we picked the same. I mean, it's kind of not hard because there's so few choices.
Right.
So
we're not like mind readers here. It was just kind of deduction.
Yeah, literally, process of elimination.
Exactly. All right, that wraps up Salt Lake City.
Okay, so on to Beverly Hills. We'll start with Taylor, who was married to Russell at the time. Despicable human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not one nice thing that I have to say about him.
No, he was a very dark individual.
Yeah.
Aside from all the domestic violence, which we know happened, and breaking her eye socket and just kind of terrorizing her. then he wanted to sue Camille for talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was involved in, lots of business fraud, it sounded like. And
yeah,
he wasn't a good guy.
No.
One of the darkest parts,
I think, of the show in general. Like,
yes, of the Housewives franchise, that's definitely a dark one.
Right. And then, so after she moved on from Russell, then she married John, who was her lawyer at the time.
Yeah, I remember her jumping on that plane, not knowing where Kennedy was, and like, I'm going out with John.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He was married at the time,
right? Which is pretty gross.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
Right. So then we have Camille, who was married to Kelsey Grammer at the time too. We saw him a little bit in the first season.
Yeah, he was a jerk. Literally set her up to be on the show so that he could move on. He got engaged to his new girlfriend while he was still married. Like, what? Who does that? Yeah, it was bizarre. You're not even officially divorced yet, and you got engaged. What a weirdo.
Creep. So we have him, and then we also have handsome Nick, who is worth mentioning as well.
He is definitely worth mentioning because I don't know if they were in a relationship or not. He was married, but Camille would kiss him on the lips in front of his wife. He showed up in Vegas. Do you remember?
Yeah, everybody was like, what's happening?
Everybody at the table was just looking at him.
Why is he here? He's not your husband. He's somebody else's husband, and the wife's not here either. This is weird.
Yeah.
It's getting weird.
That looked terrible.
It did. It really looked terrible. Yeah. So then we have LVP, who's obviously been with Ken this entire time.
Right.
For however many years.
I mean, they seem to have a good marriage. There was a time when LVP was my favorite,
mm-hmm.
and then that I liked Ken too. I switched on her a long time ago when I felt like she didn't kind of own shit. But regardless of that, Ken has not always been the kindest to the other women. If he perceived them picking on LVP, which is part of the job, then he would kind of go for them and make kind of biting remarks and stuff. He was okay. He wasn't the worst, but I was not a big fan of Ken's.
Right, especially, towards the end, too.
Goodbye, Kyle!
So then we'll move on to Adrian and Paul. They were so funny as a couple to me. I realized that they are not together anymore. It's probably their bickering was probably a little bit more deep-rooted. Which,
they said it was playful. No.
They just didn't like each other.
He kept trying to get her to eat turkey, and she's like, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. But just try it.
Just try it.
And his squeaky shoes.
Yes, the squeaky shoes.
Yeah, I liked Paul.
Yeah.
I thought he was funny, a good guy, and everything. So I was a fan of Paul's.
And then we have Kim Richards. So she was married at one point to Monty. I know we saw him on the show. They weren't married at the time, but
yeah, he was dying
sad.
of cancer, so he wasn't doing well. He seemed like this kindest, sweetest soul, though.
I know. That's what made it even, more sad, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked him. It wasn't a great situation and how we got to see him, but,
But at least he got to see his daughter get married, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then to go to the polar opposite of Monty, we'll go with the gay bull mastiff Ken.
Yeah.
Where'd she meet him again?
I think she was walking the dog. Or did she meet him at the grocery store?
I think it was the grocery... Now that you said the grocery store, that makes sense.
Because he was with his daughter or something, I think. And she met them both. And then they came back to her house for the party or something.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. He ended up being terrible for her. I mean, do you remember how uncomfortable it was at that one party? It was at Lisa Vanderpump's. It was the opening of one of her bars, I think. And they were all there. And she was in the bathroom the whole time because she didn't want to be anywhere near him. Yeah. And Kyle's like, what are you doing in here? And she's like, I don't want to see him. I don't want to be with him. I don't want to. That was weird.
It was uncomfortable.
Yeah, very. He was a weird guy.
Yes. So then we'll move on to Kyle and Mauricio. They were together for a long time. I mean, almost the whole show, as long as the show's been running.
Right.
So that's disappointing that they...
It is disappointing. I mean, they lasted longer than most couples today.
Right.
And they seemed to have a good relationship, although toward the end here when it fractured, it would seem like he had an affair. So I don't know if he had more than one. Most guys, if they're going to cheat once, are going to cheat multiple times. So that would kind of skew my feelings on him.
Mm-hmm. I know. He used to be considered, the best husband.
Right. Across the board.
Right. And now...
not so much.
No. Also, Morgan. She's new.
Are we counting Morgan?
I figured we had to throw her in there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with them. If she treats Kyle well, then I'm fine with it. But she doesn't really count as a house husband, so...
I guess. Whatever. I don't know. She's a partner.
Yeah, okay.
I think. So we'll move on then to Brandy. And we never saw Eddie Cibrian, but I think she was going through her divorce at that time when she was on the show, or it just ended not that long ago.
Yeah, Eddie's one of those exes that's super hot, got probably any chick he wanted, and just cheated left and right. Unfortunately, it took its toll on Brandy. It doesn't seem like she ever really recovered from that.
Yeah, I don't think she did, ever, which is sad.
It is. He was a very beautiful looking man, but, the curse of those good looking genes is that he thought he was God's gift.
Yeah. Sheena went for it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think... So, were they going through their divorce at that time, and then Sheena was brought on the show? Because I know that they had their Pump Rules spinoff that they were going for. So, is that why they chose to bring Sheena on, you think?
I think so. I think Brandy felt extremely used because she didn't want to have anything to do with that. And that's the party, then. Now that you mention that, that's the party they were all at. It was the opening of Sir that Kim and Ken were at. Kim Richards and Ken, her boyfriend, not Ken Todd. So, yeah, they were doing that spinoff and all that, and she kind of used Brandy to talk to Sheena as a way to segue into their show. Gross.
All right. So, not much that we saw with Brandy for years on the show. She wasn't really with anybody. She was... Can we count Denise, though? I'm not sure if Denise counts.
Yeah, she came back and had a brief fling with Denise. Probably can't count it, but it's honorable mention.
It's like a Morgan, we're not sure. We'll throw her in there. Just, so then we had Yolanda and David Foster.
Well, I thought that was going to be great, and then it turned out not to be.
I know. He was not the nicest guy.
No, when she was sick, he was terrible.
Right. He was, saying goodbye to her breast implants so they was going to miss her,
Ugh.
She's sick from these.
I know.
She has to get them out. Her body is literally rejecting these.
And he wants to say goodbye to them.
Right.
Because he's going to miss them. He was garbage. And then he's, with somebody, 3 times younger than him or something. It's just...
Yeah.
Typical Hollywood dude. And no.
Plus, I remember, too, when he would play the piano, he had to, make sure everybody was silent. Nobody could talk. Nobody could anything. I'm like, it's a party. You can't sing along.
Right. No sing-alongs.
Yeah. No.
Somebody started to. Was it Taylor? Somebody started to sing along, and I think he stopped. I was like, no. I'm like, wow, you're fun.
It's a party. It's supposed to be that. It's so weird. That was really...
Yeah.
So Carlton also was married to a David at one point. Not David Foster, different David. But I don't remember him that much. I don't remember her that much either, just obviously the whole, Wiccan stuff.
Right.
But I don't remember him that much.
I don't remember either. I just remember him at the table once when she was fighting with Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there, but I don't even know if he spoke that much. So they're divorced.
Okay. Well, if he didn't speak, that makes him honorary best of the category.
Right.
Didn't speak once.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joyce, she is married to Michael, who I remember a little bit. They were such an odd pairing to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I wouldn't peg you guys as a couple. I don't know why, I guess.
He stood up for her a lot. He did speak up, which I can respect, but at the same time, it's Housewives. So how much you're going to get involved with,
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that their first season, like the husbands too, you get that bad rap because you're trying to stick up too much for your wife, which you would think is a good thing, but it really doesn't play that well.
Right.
So
men fighting with women never looks good.
No, it doesn't matter. Even if you're right, it still doesn't look good. So Rinna and Harry Hamlin.
I liked Harry on the show.
Yeah.
He kind of kept to himself. He'd do his gardening. He'd, ignore her. I don't really have anything bad to say about him.
No.
All the scenes that I ever saw with him on the show seemed to be pleasant. So.
Right. Then Eileen and Vincent. I miss them now. I would like to see them back because I feel like at the time I didn't necessarily, not that I didn't care for Eileen, but she was just kind of there for me.
Right.
And now I feel like maybe she would have room to shine with this type of cast. I felt like she got looked over a little bit.
I totally agree. I wasn't sure about her at the time. I think her fighting with LVP kind of threw her off, and Brandy threw her off with throwing the drink at her. And she wasn't really prepared for all of that, and it wasn't enjoyable for her. I don't think she had a good time filming. And I think if she was brought back surrounded by friends, it could go a different way.
I just remember the poker game night that
nightmare.
they had. I liked Vincent here, though. He was so funny. He's coming out the garage, trying to probably grabbing something, hears them fighting. Look, you see his little face out the window of the garage. Oh, my God.
But the best thing about it, didn't get involved.
No, just watch.
Just watch. Like all of us. Vincent is us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Vincent too. I thought he had a lot of patience at that party, trying to teach the women how to play.
I know.
And then watching the whole meltdown with Kim and Kyle and then Brandy.
Right.
And that was a mess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like Vincent too.
So, Erica and Tom. Obviously, we know the flaws with him are...
one of the worst.
Yeah.
Thief.
Con man.
Fraud.
Are we going to do back and forth?
I don't know. I thought maybe we could.
Old.
Cheater. Was he a cheater? I don't know. I'm throwing stuff out now.
All right. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, he was a cheater. I think
Was
she
it?
had texts of him buying stuff for some woman. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember. That was... Out of
He's
all the things, that
garbage.
was the least that I...
Right. He's garbage. He's way up there. Stole money from plane victims, from... it goes so far back with him and his fraud.
Yes.
And the cover-up from the Bar Association of California, allegedly.
Oh.
I mean, he's just a nasty guy.
Right. Not great. Not good.
No.
Yeah. Catherine and Donnie. They were only on for one season. I don't remember him too much. I remember how cute he was, but...
Yeah, me too. I remember him playing for the NFL. But I remember him being cute, soft-spoken.
Dorit and PK.
I don't know.
Yeah. He fell into that trap, too, of the going too hard for your wife.
Yeah.
You know, and fighting too hard.
You're not cold.
Yeah.
You're inherently cold.
Is that your British accent?
No, I wasn't really trying,
Oh,
but I could.
okay.
Let me do it over again.
Okay.
You're not cold. You're inherently cold. Don't send hate mail. I do baby. I do that
right.
better.
That's good. Right, because it's a fake British accent. So to read, that's why it sounds right, because she doesn't really have one.
That's so funny.
That's why you're able to do it.
Well, I kind of went up and down with PK.
Yeah.
There were seasons I hated him. There were seasons I found him likable. It went up and down. So.
Right. I felt the same way. Yeah, like first season, not good. Couple other seasons, yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
So Teddy and Ed, I remember liking Ed. I didn't think much of him. I didn't think that he got really involved in anything, and I thought they were a good couple.
I would co-sign that.
Denise and Aaron.
I find Aaron very interesting.
Interesting's a good word.
Yeah. Couple things. I think he has the potential to be so fucking hot if he would shave his head. Because I find the haircut to really tip him towards unattractive because it's so dated. It's like the center part and wavy. And it's like, I'm just thinking, no, please no. Just shave it. He's got the body and the face. If he would just cut that hair, he would be a 10. Then there's the part about people following him around in his car. It kind of knocks him down a little bit.
Everybody at the party was like, what? People follow you? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Who's following you?
I would have to rewatch that because I'm not quite sure why he said people were following him. Was it because he said he could cure cancer?
Something like that. Like that there's medicine that the government doesn't want you to know about or whatever. Like that the testing that they do isn't like government approved. So like people from the government are following him. Or
Yeah, that was all
something
weird.
Something very conspiracy theory-esque.
So we'll put that in the con list.
Yeah.
But then his body and his face are in the pro list.
Sure.
And it kind of evens out.
And then we have Garcelle and Sutton, who they both have exes that we never saw. Garcelle's ex Michael, and we never saw Sutton's ex Christian.
Yeah, so hard to comment.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard stuff about him, but we never saw him on the show, so there's no really a point in it.
I've seen Christian's money on the show, though, based off of Sutton, so she
that
scored.
That settlement she got? Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I need to know about him.
Lovely.
That's fine. Yep. So we have Crystal and Rob, who, I don't know. They seem like a decent couple. He seems like a nice guy, I guess.
I would agree.
I don't know.
Directed The Lion King.
That's huge points.
We love that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think anytime we've seen him, he seemed nice and supportive and all that, so.
Diana and Asher.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. They were...
We saw him sing.
Oh,
we saw Erica sing along.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, at least he let her sing along. If they were at Yolanda and David's, it would not be allowed.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. He seemed okay.
Yeah. They were on so, quickly. It was only the one season thing, so I don't have really enough about him to make an opinion.
Same.
However, I do have an opinion about Anne-Marie and Marcellus.
Well, we'll just put alleged in front of everything, but dude is a fucking dirtbag. Allegedly. And we probably shouldn't bring up all the allegations against him. I read about it. I read the woman's story. It was absolutely disgusting. I'm actually getting emotional.
Yeah.
It was absolutely disgusting. He should not be on TV. I'm glad she's gone. Mm-hmm. Take him with you.
Yeah.
And, never to be seen again. Thanks very much.
Agreed. So that brings us into the who is the worst husband or partner? Who do you think that would be?
Well, I just got emotional over Marcellus, but it's actually not him who I chose.
I know. Can you believe that?
Yeah. I know. How bad is the franchise when, that's the person you don't choose? I chose Russell.
Same.
We don't need to go into it all again. He was horrible. The domestic violence just kind of trumps everything.
Right.
And she really suffered with him. And I'm sure there were repercussions that, filtered on down to their daughter. Because she had to have, if she didn't see it, she had to have heard it.
Right.
So,
that's exactly why I picked him too.
Nasty dude.
Yes. Who did you pick as the best then? Did you even have one?
It was really hard. I struggled.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of anyone. I almost didn't put anyone, but I would say that just based off of his patience and a little bit of the comedy factor, I picked Vincent as my best.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good choice. I have him for something else, the other one, but
Spoiler alert.
Oh, sorry. Should I not say that?
No, it was just a spoiler.
Okay.
Who did you choose for your best?
It was hard to. Honestly, I really don't have one. I will say that if I had to pick somebody, I really liked Monty. I thought he was such a sweet guy and just was really struggling. And we saw him kind of at the end of that. So I would pick him if I had to. But realistically, though, out of the men, no, I don't have one.
Yeah.
Which says something.
Yeah, I know. It was really hard to pick a best.
And then, do you have a favorite?
I do. It's a bit controversial. Yeah. I picked Aaron.
Did you really?
I did.
God.
I find him, like I said, I find him interesting. Yeah, I liked watching his scenes. I don't always like watching the husbands. I can find them boring at times. I never found him boring. I thought he was a bit of a loon, but nice to look at.
Okay.
If he would just shut up completely, he'd be perfect.
Yes. Then we'd have a best.
Then we'd have a best. Yeah, who was your favorite?
My favorite, I picked Vincent for this one. I liked, for the same reason why, well, not for the same reason, I don't think he's a loon, but I was going to say I enjoy watching him. I thought that whenever he was on, I enjoyed it. His interactions with Eileen and everything like that. I liked him a lot. Thought he was funny.
Okay, that wraps up Beverly Hills.
Yep. This has been part 1 of a 2-part House Husband special. Look for part 2 next Monday. Remember to vote for your worst, best, and favorite house husband from the 4 franchises covered in this week's episode: OC, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and Beverly Hills. And tag us on Twitter or Instagram in any comments. You can follow us at Nice-ish Podcast or at LoveCindyC. You can listen to Nice-ish wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Look for new episodes every Monday. Thank you for listening and have a nice-ish day.